from words to word, from words to worlds, um, live in harmony with the real world, uh, change your life in 70 days with the 70-day challenge. So that's all the sort of titles that I've got and everything that's here. Tonight, I'm going to talk about the power within, our inner power, and how we can find that power and why we should have confidence in ourselves, because having confidence in ourselves is the ultimate power that we can have. As usual, I'll talk a little bit about myself, about my day, so you know that I am actually following the 70-day challenge with you. It's not something that I sort of say, do what I say, but not as I do. No, I do the same thing. I'm finding my experiences, I'm finding things that don't work, and I'm constantly changing and improving what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So that's why I talk about myself, and also it gives me motivation for some of the subjects. So today is Monday, Monday the 12th of May, 2025. Um, and Today is a fast day. Now, I have slightly changed my eating patterns because I went to get a control of my weight and things Saturday last, not this Saturday, but the Saturday before. I had quite a chat with the trainer there, and I said it's a bit weird that I do all this training and I've not got much muscle. And he pointed out to me that maybe I'm not having enough protein. So I have changed my diet, so I have more protein because I'd like to get a bit more muscle. But to have that, I needed to change my plan to lose as much weight as possible, because if I'm going to have more protein, I'm going to have more calories, and if I'm going to have more muscle, then I'm going to not lose as much weight as I plan. And this this weekend, I weighed and measured myself, and although the measurements were slightly positive, I actually gained weight, which is very shocking and very surprising. But at the end of the day, it works with the new plan. And the new plan is to have more muscle and to be fitter. And what's been interesting today is that I went to the gym, which is, I try and go most days of the week. I have a Saturday different thing. And I have one of my challenges is on some of the fitness machines is to go up to a resistance of 90 pounds, which is not bad. And I have two machines that I like and that I have planned that I will eventually, after the 70-day challenge, get to 90 pounds. What I succeeded to do today is with both machines, I succeeded to do not only my 4 repetitions, hello, good evening, not only with the 4 repetitions of 90 pounds, 15 times 4, I did it twice. So I really got there, and I've got there after 3 weeks. And I think that's because I've been starting to take protein. But it's also because I have a power within myself. And that power within myself is what we want to talk about tonight, is the power you have inside you and how you can touch that power and how it's important. Now, unfortunately, for most people that don't feel that, is there's a lack in your childhood education, because to feel you have the power within yourself, it's part of our education as children. Now, I talk on quite a lot about my optimism. I'm an eternal optimist, and that comes from my father, because my father was someone that went bankrupt like 4 or 5 times, and he started again and he rebuilt, and he started again and rebuilt. I won't go into the details of why he kept going bankrupt. It was basically because he had this very poor choice of partners and the way of dealing with them. But that gave me my optimism. But the part of me that has confidence comes from my ex school director, Mr. Bernard Benjamin, who was the director of the boarding school I was at. I was there for 6 years. I was there for 6 years because I didn't want to leave. I actually made a big hullabaloo to stay there for another year or two with him. And he gave me the most incredible education. And one of the things that I remember him saying to me, which totally pissed me off at the time, as sort of like being 10, 11, 12 years old, just like nearly 60 years ago, so, but I still remember it, is that I'd go to him and say, how do I do this? Or what do I do this? Or whatever. And he'd turn to me and look me straight in the eye, or down at me, and say, Gary, solve your problem. And he'd just turn and walk away. And I was incredibly frustrated and angry. And I thought, he's the adult, he's the head of this school, and like he's supposed to help me solve problems. And all he does is say, solve your problem. And later on in life, especially now, I'm a therapist. Well, I actually realized it was a wonderful education because by saying solve your problem, somewhere within, he's saying, I have confidence in you. I know you can solve your problem. I don't have to solve your problem for you, like for maybe from other people, because I know you can solve your own problem. And the idea for me to solve my own problems, it's something I've carried all my life. So not only am I an eternal optimist, I love solving problems. And that's part of the way that I function. Now, if you have not been lucky enough to have that sort of education, if you've not had someone that has said, you can do this, solve your problem, go forward, find your own power, if you've not had that, it's not the end of the world because you can learn that. You can find it. It is within you. And one of the songs that I sometimes sing to myself, because I like to sing songs to myself, because other people don't like it when I sing to them. And one of the songs is from a comedy musical comedy called Starlight Express. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. More than likely you have. And there's this song by the Starlight Express, Hiya, that says, the power is within you. Starlight Express, I don't know if you know anything about it. It's a musical about trains, and the trains are having a race, and all races, and it's a race game with a child's fantasy at night, and there's a diesel, and there's electric, and there's this old steam engine, Rusty. And Rusty wants to win this race, and he asks for this mythical train, the Starlight Express, to help him and support him. And this mythical train comes down and says, yes, I'm here to support you. I'm here to support you to remind you that the power is within you. That's the words of the song, the power is within you. And that is the message of tonight. The message of tonight is the power is within you. We all have that power. I'm in a transcultural therapy center. As a transcultural therapy center, we deal with a lot of immigrants, a lot of asylum seekers. And quite a few of them have been tortured, have lost their homes, have had to run for their lives, either alone or with their families. And what is obvious is that they have survived because they have found a power within them which is extraordinary, which is magnificent. Now, you could say, yes, it's life or death. And they find that because they need to survive. But to find it because you need to survive insists that already it exists. It's already there. You need to find enough motivation to dig it out and make use of it. And the whole point of this 70-day challenge is to help you to have that desire, have that motivation, is to say, I can do this. I can dream a dream. Other songs, other shows. I can dream a dream. This dream I can check to see if it's reasonable, because don't have a dream that's like stupid. I want to be a multimillionaire, or I want to go out with a top film star, or a top pop star. That's stupid. But I want to lose this weight. I want to get trained. I want to run a marathon. I want to do things that are realistic, that are reasonable. If everything goes well, and if I have the means to do it. And the means to do it, yes, I talk about finding strategies. I talk about getting support systems. But ultimately, the most important person that needs to believe in you is you. And the second most important person that needs to believe in you is me. And I believe in you. So it's already 1 out of 2. So we're already starting well here. So what is important is that you find within yourself a reality that is different maybe from the way everybody else sees you. Because I don't care how everybody else sees you. What I care is how I see you. And I see you as someone that can succeed because you've started with me. You've started the challenge. If you've started the challenge, it means you somewhere believe enough in yourself to go the 70 days. And if you've started a bit later, to go less, but it doesn't matter, to go to the end, to have a goal. And if you don't quite reach the goal, if you're a bit short, if you've only got a partial success, it's not important. It's not important because even the partial success is a huge success compared to where you were before you started. Things must have advanced. And we'll start again in September and we'll carry on. That's not the point. The point is you are on the path. You are in the game. You are in the challenge. And that is wonderful. That is so wonderful. And it's so important to be able to say, I am testing myself every time you push yourself out of your comfort zone. And if you're going to advance, you need to be outside your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is static. Your comfort zone is where you are now. You're never going to advance if you stay in your comfort zone. But every time you go out of your comfort zone into what I call the zone of discomfort, strangely enough, as soon as you go into that zone of discomfort, you are advancing, you are moving forward. And if from time to time you can get into the zone of suffering, that is the point where things really advance and really change. But to go into the zone of suffering, you need to be stubborn enough. You need to believe in yourself enough. You need to push yourself enough to go beyond the discomfort into the suffering. Now, I do not think it's a good idea to stay long in the zone of suffering. Actually, it's very bad. Because if you go in the zone of suffering for a bit too long, you get into the zone of pain. And the zone of pain is destructive. You can do yourself damage. So it's very, very specific. This zone of suffering. It's quite thin in my vision of what is appropriate. You have a very small bit of a circle. I will do something all on this at some point. That you have the zone in the middle, which is the zone of apathy, the zone where you don't do anything and it gets worse. You get the comfort zone, which is around that. And in that comfort zone, things stay as they are because you just do enough so things don't go worse, but not enough so things go better. Then you get to the zone of discomfort, and that's when things start to advance. And for that, you need to believe in yourself. You need to have that self-motivation that says, I am worth it. And that being worth it is such an integral part of any sort of positive change. Because if you're not worth it, then you won't go forward. You won't make those efforts. You won't make those sacrifices. You've got to say, I am worth it. And I know you're worth it because you're here and because you're watching this. And it's already proof. You don't need any more proof. You don't need someone else to say that you're appropriate. You don't need to look for anybody else's approval. You maybe listen to their advice. That can be okay. But their approval is irrelevant. I have a lot of people that don't like most of what I do, the way I am, the way I speak, my hair, my earrings, the mess of an office, my loud way of addressing things. They don't like it. And what do I do about it? I say, okay, that's their opinion. That's the way of seeing me. But do I do good work? Do I help people? Is my way of being useful in itself, or is it destructive for myself and for others? So even though I don't get the approval of many people, I still succeed to help my patients. And I still succeed to be satisfied with myself as much as that I know there are things to change and things to improve. I mean, I'm not perfect, not quite yet, but I'm working on it. So what is important is that we do not limit ourselves by needing the approval of other people. It's important to listen. to advice. And when you listen to advice, then after that, you need to assess with yourself what you believe to be right and true and appropriate for yourself. For instance, my mother in law, she thinks my hair is very, very, very much too long. She would like me to have short hair. And she's been hassling me for many, many, many years to have my hair short. It's actually never been as long as this. It's got much longer. I will get it cut because I feel it's a bit too long for my comfort zone. But I'm not getting it cut because someone else doesn't like the way my hair is. Now, if I had some very specific partner that look at that beautiful hair, that didn't like something about me, then I might listen to them and it might make a difference. But no, your confidence in yourself is your ability to assess in a reasonable way what people's suggestions are and if their suggestions are valid or not. As I've said, I've changed my eating habits to have more protein because my fitness coach said that my muscles are not growing, so I don't have enough protein. So I give it a try. I'll see what that brings. And because it brings possibly more muscle and more weight, then I will accept that I will change a bit my plans. And that's very, very important, is to be able to be a bit flexible, is to say, okay, this is what I plan to do, this is where I plan to get to. And something comes up that says maybe that's not the perfect goal, or maybe someone says that's not the perfect way to reach their goal. So listen to them. Let them give you advice. But ultimately, you need to believe in yourself. You need to be able to say, what do I do with that advice? Can I integrate that into the way I see the universe? Or do I have to give up on who I see myself as to fit into their vision? Now, it could be appropriate, but not likely. And hopefully, the more that you go forward with doing things for yourself and testing things and see if they succeed and see if they fail. Because if they fail, then you know that's a strategy that's not going to work. So put a cross on it. Um, Edison, when he failed to produce the perfect light bulb, his attitude, well, that's 1,000 things that don't work. So now I can go forward to try and find the ones that do, and that's not wrong. It's not wrong to see that maybe your goal, your expectation was maybe not perfect, but ultimately you are the master of your ship. You are the person that is responsible for your life. And if you make a mistake and you get it wrong, then you have to assume it. But if you decide you want to change your life and other people don't want that, then that's their problem. One of the things that I've noticed with a lot of my patients, I have certain patients that are hyper helpful, people pleasers, and they have structured their life around pleasing people. Unfortunately, if that's the way you structure your life, you have a habit of attracting people that are going to abuse you. So I have moved them along the path to protect themselves better and to make sure there's a reciprocity, reciprocal. Reciprocal is French, reciprocality. Aha, I found it. In their exchange with people. They give so much, and without being sort of like, I gave you this and you give me that, without being too rigid with that, but generally keeping an awareness how much they're giving and how much the other one is giving back or passing it forward, which is also good. There's nothing wrong with that. And eventually, a lot of them have said, okay, I can see that I'm giving too much. I'm giving to people that never give back. They just take for themselves, and I'm going to stop that. And as they stop that, they say, Mr. Ghetto, I've lost 3/4 of my friends. And I say, well, these aren't really friends. But in that meantime, in the process of them stopping giving too much, of course, they've got a lot of negative feedback because the people that have been benefiting from them are upset because they're no longer benefiting from them. And It's so important that they start to have confidence in themselves, to set their own limits, to see what's good for them, what's important for them. So many people. I had a patient today. She was saying in her couple, her husband um, doesn't support her the way that she feels is appropriate, and constantly she feels she's doing much too much. Often in couples, both of them feel they're doing too much. Well, that's another story. But as she stops doing as much as he wishes her to do, then she's getting negative feedback. But she's getting more confidence in herself. She's more clear about what is appropriate for her, how much to give, how much to do. And the whole process of this 70-day challenge is to change your life. It's not to change one element of your life. That element of your life is the place where you practice. It's the place where you focus your energy to say, can I change my life? And by changing this and this and this, or just one thing, whatever, then you say, yes, I have proof that I'm capable to change one element of my life. But by changing that one element, you're giving yourself feedback that you can change things, that you can be disciplined, you can be motivated, you can go forward, you can get things done that are important for you. For instance, someone that wants to learn to play an instrument, they'll need to practice that instrument 3, 4, 5 times a week if they really want to advance. If their partner, whatever type of partner or parent or whatever, wants more of their time, but yet they still want to learn the instrument, they need to say no. They need to say, no, I have decided I'm going to learn this instrument, and therefore this time, which is not enormous, and I still have time for you and time for my responsibilities, but I'm carving out of my life a certain amount of time to practice my instrument. That proves that they're capable to say no, that they're capable to set limits. They're capable to invest in something and to keep investing in it, and then to see the things advance. And all that is such an important feedback for you as a person. You say, I can do this now, and I didn't do it before. And that changes me. It makes me more powerful, more successful, more interesting, maybe even more intuitive. There are many people that, as they gain confidence in themselves, they start to trust their intuition. They start to say, hey, I feel this, and I never had confidence to go with what I was feeling. And often my feeling is right. And afterwards I say, oh, I should have done this, or I should have trusted myself. And that is also important, because intuition, I mean, there are two types of intuition. There's the what I call the mosaic intuition, and what I call the pure intuition. These are two different things. And I will explain. The mosaic intuition is when we get small items of information that come in. And some information we might have had over a long period of time, and some information coming new. This is a bit like Sherlock Holmes. He notices this, he notices that, and he puts it together, and it makes a story. And the intuition through mosaic is that we have bits of information that come in, like a piece of mosaic. You have diamonds, you have circles, you have squares, you have oblongs, and they all come in, different colors, different shapes, different moments. And within our inner computer, which is powerful, strangely enough, within the inner computer, these pieces get put together in such a way that it starts to make a shape, it starts to make an image, it starts to make a story. And then we see the finished item. And that seeing the finished item, we know something. We don't know why we know it, because these pieces, as they come in of information, we've not noticed. We don't notice what they mean because they don't actually have a sense in themselves that we can capture. But when these all come together, all of a sudden things make sense without us knowing why. And that is something that many of us throughout the day, we see the way someone looks, we hear what someone has said, a word, or we've noticed a movement, we've noticed something happening on the outside, or maybe somebody is starting to sell something or not sell something. We notice things. But we don't really notice what we've noticed because they don't have any sense or any meaning or any coherence. And we put them together and then we know something, but we don't know why. And if you have confidence in yourself, after a while, you start to trust that intuition. You start to know when it's just something you would like, something you don't like, because you say, oh, this is a bad person, this is a nice person, and therefore this means this, that. But you need to be able to judge when you have a positive motivation to believe something or a negative motivation to not believe something. We get there. The other type of intuition is pure intuition, where there are no details. We just have a flash of something without knowing at all where it comes from, and it's not possible because it's not linked to our daily lives. So that's another type of intuition. But again, the more we have confidence in ourselves, and I've lived this, of course, because before being a psychologist, many moons ago, over 30 years ago, I was a professional psychic. And I learned how to trust my intuition. I learned how to judge what I felt and what I saw, and knowing that there was no logic for knowing that. And yet, I, that was my job. My job was to tell people what I knew, which I didn't know why I knew it, but I knew it, and it was useful, hopefully. So I was a psychologist because I was always basically based on psychology. But the more you have confidence in yourself, the more you'll be able to go forward with that. So trust yourself, go forward, be someone that has a power within them and finds it. Find your power. Find out who you are and say, I can do this. This is reasonable. This is within my abilities. And the more you go beyond what is comfortable for you, the more you go beyond what are your usual limits, the more you have more confidence in yourself as a human being. And this builds on itself. The more I succeed, the more I have confidence that I can succeed, the more I risk, the more I advance, the more proof I've got that this can work, the more that has proof that this can work, the more I have confidence in myself, and it's a motor, it's a dynamo, and it builds and it builds. The idea is not to get arrogant, not to get overconfident, not to go too far or too high, which is why I keep saying is that the dreams that we have, we need to check the possibility that they're realistic. And then we can be optimistically realistic that it can happen. But we need, first of all, to judge in the real world what sort of makes sense within the means that we have at this time. Nothing that says that once we've reached a new plateau, a new height, that we can't next time, whenever next time is, go higher and go more and go further. But we need to sort of be reasonable with each step. And the one reason why I've decided to have 3 lots of challenges per year is that each time you can have a challenge which is reasonable. And when you get there, you can be satisfied, take a bit of holiday, and then organize yourself for the next step and the next step and the next step. So who knows how far you can go? Maybe you've had no formal education and you'd like to do university. Well, you can't start with no formal education, go to university, not in one leap. But maybe you can start to take some courses and go through. I mean, in England, it's O levels and then A levels. In other countries, it's high school. In Switzerland, it's a baccalaureate, it's a maturity. So you can start. You can start going forward and further and forward. But if you say, I think I can do this, I'm going to go for the next step, then that's going to help. It's going to take you forward. And that's going to build your confidence in yourself. Okay, that's the end of the half hour for tonight. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope you found this interesting and useful. If you have, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, subscribe. Please share this with your friends and family and anybody. This is totally free. I'm here to help. I'm here to support. I'm here to help people change their lives. And the last thing is that in the summer, I'm going to be doing personal therapy sessions, recorded them here for YouTube. So if you or you know someone that is in difficulty and they feel that they could benefit from a session or 2 sessions with me, It'll be totally free, which compared to the cost in Switzerland, which is enormous, is an enormous saving. So you can do that. That's something I plan to do over the summer when I'm sort of on a pause from this 70-day challenge, and we'll see how that goes. So take it easy. We can do this. Thank you for your time. And remember, I'm here every day of the week, just about Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 8:30 CEST, Central European Summer Time, and 4:30 p.m. On Saturday. So okay, take it easy. Bye for now. See ya.